Fun fact: Ken Onion holds 36 patents for different mechanisms and knife designs. Hey everyone, I have another knife review for you today. Today we're going to be taking a look at another outstanding knife by Kershaw. This is the Kershaw Centofante Onion, model 1610. Alright, first off I'm going to give you guys some specifications on the knife, and then we can go right into the review. Alright, the blade steel is a 440A stainless steel. Right. The handle material is a red anodized aluminum. Just the scale is over some liners. Alright, the blade length is 2 1/4 inches long, and the handle or closed length is 3 1/8 inches long, with the total package coming in at 1.6 ounces. Alright, so this is one of those knives, again, that was sitting in my local knife shop in the case that I have always wanted, and it's not expensive at all, but for some reason I just didn't pick it up. I really don't know why, but I finally decided at one time just to get it. This is about a month ago, and I've been carrying it ever since as my EDC. Great little EDC, really comes in handy, and nice and small and lightweight, that it's out of the way and it doesn't really, you don't really notice it. As you can see, has a Warncliffe style blade on there, which is very nice. Gives you a flat cutting surface. No belly to it, so anybody that likes some knife with a little bit of belly might be turned off by this. But it definitely allows you to get a very razor sharp edge on there. And from Kershaw, it does just that. Extremely sharp. I haven't had to sharpen it up in the time that I've been carrying it, but I should probably get around to doing that a little bit. It is starting to dull a little bit, but it's been great at keeping an edge. It really has. Especially with the tasks I'm asking it to do. I'm not putting it through too much difficult work, so that's another reason why it's been holding up so well. Alright, the pocket clip on the back here, it's a great pocket clip. It really is secure in your pants. It rides relatively low. You only have a very small portion of it that's sticking out. The negative is that you can't swap it. Right? For some reason, Kershaw has a thing against reversible pocket clips when there's no reason not to. There's nothing that's going to be obstructed. Right? I might understand why they couldn't put it down here simply because of this design, but you can flip it over to put it on the left-hand side. They just don't like doing that. But overall, it's a good pocket clip, not a problem. Alright, this knife does deploy with two mechanisms. One being the flipper, which is the easiest, most convenient, and quickest way I have found to deploy it. And as you saw, it comes out extremely fast with Kershaw's speed-safe assisted opening. Nice and fast. You don't hardly have to push the flipper at all for it to come out. Alright, now it does have thumb studs. Now I don't think that they are frame there. Don't think they're completely useful. I don't think they are intended as the opening mechanism. But if you get it at the right angle, you can get it out. It does take a little bit of work, but it does. You can do it. The main purpose of the thumb studs, let me bring it in a little closer, is they are a blade stop. As you can see there's a little detent where the thumb studs fit in on the handle scales, and that prevents the blade from going back any farther and stops it in the open position. So they do have a function, but just not primarily as an opening mechanism. Alright, I'll show you guys there's a Kershaw logo on there. On the back, model number 1610, made in the USA, Onion Centofante. Right. This is a liner lock, as you can see here. It locks up nice and solid, no up and down plate, nothing from side to side. Very impressive for such a little knife and for the speed safe assisted opening. It was, at least for me, a little difficult at the beginning to close it. One, because the knife is so small, you're trying to manipulate it in your hands and get a good positive grip on it in order to push that liner over. But two, because the liner it's not recessed into the handle. It does protrude just the smallest bit, but there really isn't much for your thumb or your nail to grab onto and push over. After a while, you do develop a technique. At least for me, it's using my nail, not my actual thumb, and you get just that small portion of the liner and press it over. I understand it being a small knife, they can't do much to it, but maybe a tiny bit of jimping on that liner would definitely help with closing the knife. Okay. It does have a locking mechanism right above the pocket clip. Alright, when it's in the closed position, you can push that locking mechanism up, which will prevent the knife from opening, no matter what you do to it. If you press it down again, it's functional. Now, I do like that system much better than the system that Kershaw uses on their Leek and Scallion and Chive, where it's down at the bottom here, where you'd have to actuate it with your pinky, and that's just kind of out of the way. Where this one is actually, you could just swipe it with your, if it's locked, you swipe it off with your index finger and then go with the flipper. So that actually works fairly well if you did want to lock the knife. This knife, the entire time I've carried it, did not open in my pocket, so it really isn't a necessity, and I don't see a time that you really need it to be locked, unless you just like that feature. Okay. As you can see, the handle does have a cool design on it. Just adds a little bit of character to it, makes it a little interesting. You got some detents up the front and some cutouts at the bottom. Alright, so very cool. It does have an FRN backspacer here, but for the most part it has somewhat of an open design, like a semi-open design where you could clean it out if you wanted to. It does have full liners, which does add a little bit of heft to it, a little bit of weight, which is nice. The thing I dislike about small knives is sometimes they're just too light, and I kind of want to know that my knife is there, at least for me, and especially a small knife, you don't want to forget about it or lose it. So having a tiny bit of heft to it does help, and those liners are partly what give you that. Alright, one of the really only negatives about the knife, besides the pocket clip, is the spacing, and this might just be my knife, but you can see that the blade is actually hitting the liner on the left side. Alright, once you open up the knife and close it, at a certain point the knife actually jumps over to the side and hits it. So the spacing is a little bit off. Right now, with the time that I've used it, it has not rubbed or scratched the blade any, but over time it might. But it really doesn't hurt the function of the knife. Right, and then you can take the knife down and adjust the pivot with some torque screws here. Alright, but that's about it. It's been a great EDC. I really have enjoyed it. It's not my, it is my main EDC, the one I'll take out and use in front of people if I need to, but I do tend to pair it with a larger knife, something like this, my Benchmade 940. Definitely think they work well together. Both the flat anodized aluminum scales, the red and green, I think looked good together. So I'll just pair it with the Benchmade or something else, just as being my main or backup EDC, and this is just my user EDC. So that's what I'll be doing. So if you guys have any questions or comments, please let me know. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the review.